March the 15th, and welcome. We are here today to look at the energies of the week. My name is Julianne Duffy. If you've joined me, we look at a combination of astrology, numerology, and elements to get a feeling of what energies are in store for us. So we're going to get started, but I wanted to clean up. If you are interested in this, please do like, share, and subscribe so you can stay up to date and we can appease the AI algorithm gods. And what I have been working on, where the reason I keep coming live and being here each week is what I'm creating is an app based on the same kind of concept. And it's called the Awaken Light app, which you will see here. There we go. I can point to that. No, I gotta go over this. Okay, so if you're in my landscape, it's way over here. Awaken Light base app. Base 44 app. Good thing I can speak. If you're on vertical, it's right here. So I've been creating this app out of my own wanting to have something that pulls together astrology, numerology, and other systems to show people patterns, timing, cycles to help them shape their lives and make decisions that are just better, just easier decisions. So what it looks like, and I'll share this while all my streams go live, is it's not here. Okay, a second. Let me find. Why is it not? Using this software is always fun. Select a tab to share a window. There we go. Good thing I can use this software. So this is currently how my app looks. Let's see. Perfect. And what I've got here is a lot of different elements to it. But one of the things I wanted to show, I've done a little bit of upgrades and features. And I'm still working on it because at this point, I've been coding it to ensure that it is working on the back end. So it's pulling the correct information, the same stuff you'd be getting from AstroSeek or Astro.com or any of the astrology websites. And I've upgraded it a little bit. So we've got your energetic landscape. So just for the daily, this is just something where you go daily. It tells you essentially what the overall energy is for you, your personal days, your Western focus, your Vedic anchor. It's got some brief descriptions of yourself. Here we've got the numerology aspect. So it'll explain if you hit the little drop down, master builder, and it gives you some information about it, aligned actions. This is one of the things I did notice recently. So this is an upgrade I'll be working on because, while I'm working on this app, there's always little things that can happen, right? But we got the Western astrology. So it goes over where your placements are, your background for the day, what the theme is, how it affects you, things, best practices and things to watch for. Then we get into the Vedic. This is where we start to get into some of my favorite features of the app is actually on the daily, because I really love Vedic chants, like Sanskrit chants. And so it goes over again, very much like the Western. So again, the theme, how it lands for you, but it gives you some recommended chants. So if that's something you love doing, then you can go find the chants and learn them and it'll help you. So for example, my daily recommendation is the Om Dum Dangaya Namaha, protection and strength, and a supporting chant is the O Shriyam Nama. When I sing it, I can say it. But when I'm reading it, I can't say it. Namaha, which is abundance, right? So it's one of my favorite little features here. Again, best use and things to watch out for. Goes over the moon and how it affects you. And then this is my favorite part. It is the practical. We get into the practical alignment feature, and it's got daily movement, breath, and reset. So when you go into the full practice, it does every day. And now I've got this working perfectly. So this is awesome because I've been monitoring it since I've been doing some background programming and fixing, but it's got a breath work that it recommends based on your personal day and again, everything is customized to you. So this is not, you're not going to get the same reading as somebody else, a friend, a family member. You're going to get this based on your own charts. So for me, it's recommending the 4-7-8 relaxing breath. It explains it and gives you some tips and the best times to do it. Then you've got morning, so some stretches that it recommends, and this now is completely changing based on you on the best time. So I've already missed my best practice times for my morning. I should have been up at 7. I'm tired today. I didn't make it to between 5 and 7 this morning. Then you've got afternoon, again, changing, telling you the best time in the afternoon. And then you've got a quick reset, which again gives you some guidance that'll help you if you're feeling scattered, need a check-in, etc. So it's again customized based on who you are and your charts. Then we get down to the daily wellness. And so it gives you, if you're into the crystals, colors, plants, movement style, today would be gentle yoga and meditative music. Those are all very, very good for me. Sound frequency. It will also give you hertz. So if it's a good day for like a 432 hertz or something like that, it'll recommend that as well. Then it gets into the reflection and timing. So it gives you some sacred intentions, gives you a message. And then we have personal power days. So it overlaps some of the personal power days, which you can then click on and gives you more information about it. And that is the daily. So that gives you kind of an idea of where this is going. There's so many features in this app. So you can always that's a daily. We've got a weekly. Weekly's a little bit different, similar foundation. It tells you again, this would be now the week for the 15th to the 21st. So the Sunday to Saturday. And then it tells you what the overall weekly things are. It gives you your astrology for the week. It gives you the Vedic theme for the week, numerology, again, the lunar, and then each day of the week and what the week at the glance is. So like Monday is compassion and closure, right? So it just gives you kind of a theme. Again, reflections. So this week it's really focused on calming sounds in nature here when you go with the sounds, breath work, deep breathing. So it's overall weekly type of guidance. And then I also have the same option, similar layout we've been working on, and again, pulling from you uniquely how the month overview. So this is my month of March, and then it tells you essentially how it affects you in all of those same ways in the month, but it does have a little bit more details here on the lunar rhythms of the month. And then again, practical week by week versus the days, right? So each week and what they represent. So we're going into week 3, which is empowerment through change and reflection for this account. This is one of my practice accounts. It's not my actual astrology on this one, but it's for me to show you guys. And then again, monthly guidance. This one is interesting. The reason it doesn't give me any focus is because I've not been logging into this account every day. So with this, the more you log in, the more accurate this information goes, because this one will actually give you what areas of your body come up the most through the daily readings. So it's a really cool feature. This is made to be used as a tool that you go and log into every day. So there's some things I've been working on. Part of it, I've been developing this app and been looking for beta testers if you've been following me. And yesterday I was going through, because I was on this account and I hadn't been on this account for a while, and finding little things. And I'm like, okay, got to fix this, got to fix this, got to fix that in the background. So that's part of the benefit of being a beta tester. You get to come try this out. It's working well, but you get to do it for free. And then give me some feedback. Let me know what's working, where the things are going, because it's coming along. We've got these features here. One of my favorite things is this sacred ritual sanctuary. This actually has a whole bunch of things I have produced, right? So it talks about, this is my sacred integration method. So it talks about the different steps of stabilizing. It's got chakra meditations to go through. It's got breath work practices and embodiment, so yoga practices. But this is the big part, is actually my 16 session class. It was a class. It was Ignite Your Spiritual Journey, and it's 16 sessions to help you go deeper into your own spiritual practice and into healing. And it's all integrated, that it works well with your own charts and with this app, because a lot of the features that I talked about in this class actually show up in the app. So I'm just highlighting a few of the things because they can find your best time, location, connections. There's some extra features I'm going to be working on very soon where you can find compatibility. So you can put in a family member, friend, somebody you work with, and see where you're compatible with them and where there might be struggles, right? It's really here to help you. But one of my I have so many favorite features, I know, but I made it. So I guess it's supposed to be that way because I built this for something I wanted. We have the soul map reading. And one of the best parts, this is essentially like your normal astrology reading you would get, like your overall reading. And I'm going to add a few numerology things to it. That's not quite done. So there is some more upgrades coming. However, one of my favorite parts of it is this activation stack. So what this talks about is, based on who you are, where are your levers? What is going to affect you most in life? There's 4 things that will affect you: timing, location, yourself, and relationships. Okay. So based on this account, there's actually dual primary levers. On my personal one, there's not. There's one primary, then there's supporting, background, and then the 2 backgrounds. For this account, the primary levers are time and location are very important for this version of a person. And what's interesting is if you click on it, it'll tell you which parts of the app will help you with this, right? So with timing, it explains it, that timing sensitivity, cycles, windows influence clarity, momentum, and outcomes. And you can use it to avoid major periods of actions, or to avoid periods of major best timing windows and avoid periods. There we go. Let me read that properly. Best timing and avoid periods. So things that you may or may not want to, plan around for ease, right? And so that's interesting. So it tells you again the different features in the app you can use that would assist you. So those will be probably a little bit more impactful. The location, again, it's going to tell you explore location, ideal locations, locations to use caution, one person or multi-person location analysis. And then if you go back to the app here on location energy, it's got explore location, discover location, locations to use for caution. So if I go here and go, okay, this person has caution locations, let's just see what general frictions exist. So it scans, and I've got a little counter because when we get this, we're getting into some complex calculations and it is going to run them for you particularly. So I did put a timer because you will have to take a few moments, grab a drink, have a coffee, take a sip as it runs. So there is no locations of caution. So this person doesn't have any, which is good. You don't need to worry about that. But if you discover a location, if we go ideal locations, let's say for my career and success, you can put in a little note of what you're looking for. And you can always include somebody. So if you wanted to add somebody that you wanted to travel with. And when you hit the discover, again, it's going to cross-reference. It will take a little longer when you have multiple people because you can add multiple people to cross-reference with. And then it runs it and it's going to tell you. So this person, based on their astrology, Vancouver is really good for ideal career growth. And then we got San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, etc. So these are just kind of overall recommended advice. But if you really want to know, because let's say you got somebody offered you a job somewhere and you're like, should I move here? Well, we can answer that too. We go back, we go to explore location, you put in your location. So let's say I want to explore New York. Oh, Village of Albany, New York. Let's go there. Let's say I got a job offer there. We'll put job. That's my specific. I'm not even going to get like that. And you can, again, pick times. Let's say it's in the next 30 days. How would that look? What would that be something that, how does that look in your life, right? Like based on your charts, so it really goes on. It's a work opportunity. It goes deep into it. It explains the challenges, explains guidances, and then you can even save this and compare them. So there's a lot of different features. It's just kind of giving you an overall feel of what I've been developing. So there's a lot to it, and I've got a lot more before this becomes completely available for people to purchase and sign up for all the time. But if you do want to try it, I would recommend jumping to my website. It should be in the description. You'll see my breathewithinyoga.com, and you can apply to be a beta tester, and you will get first dibs to try out the app. Now, of course, can't promise everything will work because there is, as we go through this and as I'm upgrading and pushing things, sometimes other things break. This is the fun part about creating things. You're like, yes, this works. And then you fix something over here. And you're like, oh, I didn't know fixing that affected that end. Yay. But I'm getting it. It's better and better each day. And my patience grow with that. So that is really why I'm here. Is we're doing the weekly overview. It's the same idea, but this is for the collective. If you want to know how it affects you personally, my app, there we go. The app is the way. And you can sign up for it. I've got to fix something because if you do click on it, you're going to get an error message that admin access only. Then there's a sign up button in the corner. That is going to be fixed because I just noticed that. That was brought up to me yesterday. Somebody had that. And then when I was exploring, I'm like, oh, this is why that happened. You know what? I wish things were a little bit easier, but if it was easier, everybody would be making this stuff, and it's not always easy. So there's my little cleanup. If you are interested and you're not already an app user, reach out to me. You can email me directly. You can apply online is the best way. Go and fill out my form. You'll get all the information, and then once you log in, I will set you up so you can have get full access to the website, so you can try all the and get the full readings. If you do sign for free, you see a little bit of it and you can play around, but you're not going to get the full depth of the whole app, right? Like even if you go to your soul map, you only get a little bit of it, right? Because, I want you, if you're going to get it for free, I want you to be my beta tester. So on that note, welcome again. So we are looking at this week, March 15th to 22nd, what the energy has in store and what patterns we're looking at. So as we go through this week, it is progression of movement. So we're really starting today, Sunday, with initiative and personal action, which then moves to communication, structure, and we start to build towards responsibility, reflection, and empowerment. So the overall pattern is really we're collaborating, communicating at the beginning of the week, to organizing, adapt, and then reflection and empowerment by the end of the week. And the best approach coming through mid-March here is move step by step, but don't force outcomes, right? Like we can't force things. And like, again, as I was showing with the app, for that person, timing and location makes a difference. So sometimes we might be pushing, but we might be having to wait for timing, right? Like we might be doing everything right, but until charts change and we've got the right timing and the right location, then everything just falls into place. Like, right? Like the music. So that is why I recommend using the app, is really to help you to understand how to work with life to have the least amount of frustration. Because I know for myself how frustrating it can be being like, I'm doing all the same things that everybody else is doing, and it's not working. Why are they able to do this? Why doesn't it work for me? Where is my skills? Where are my strengths that are different? And it's interesting because the more you dig into how different you are, you'll realize that, okay, that person, it's probably made in their charts that is something that they easily do. For this, doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. However, you might just be waiting for time. You might be just waiting for the right location, or maybe just that right person to assist you to get that success. And that's real. Like that is actually real. So you're sitting there frustrated thinking, oh, I just suck or whatever, right? Because we're always want to be like, I'm doing all these steps. Like this actually is one of the things that bothers me about people selling programs. Oh, just do what I did and you'll work it out. Maybe if I have similar charts to you, maybe if I have similar strengths, maybe I have similar alignments, totally might get the same results. But then if you realize that I don't really have the same things, but I can do these same things, and knowing that timing or the right person will help you, it just gives you a better perspective. That kind of makes sense, and clarity. But that is what my learning is, and that's why I'm developing this app, is to make life easier, less friction, right? And so as we go through the week, the reality is we're moving step by step. We don't want to force the outcomes. So if okay, I'm moving, building something, but timing is important, and you start to realize, okay, by early 2027, this timing opens up and this shows more ease. So it doesn't mean you're not going to have some success, but more ease comes during this period or whatever. It's just going to give you a better perspective versus falling off the bandwagon of something, right? So if you're creating, because what we're also doing right now is we're building and encouraging people to get out and promote themselves. And best way to promote is coming live, is making videos. People watch these videos. If you don't have a big budget, your best scenario is going live, getting on as many platforms, having people hear what you offer and doing it. Now, I know with my charts, it's going to take me a while to get the traction. I fully am aware with that. So I know I'm not going to instantly have anything viral. It doesn't mean it's impossible. I know it's not most likely not probably going to happen, just based on who I am. Where my skill sets lie is those few that get what I'm saying will totally get what I'm saying. And those are going to be my people that will come back, watch my videos, will want to be part of this. Those are going to be my people. I'm not built for everybody. And then I'm okay with that, knowing that my success is going to come through consistently showing up, showing my authority, and building it. So again, coming back to the idea of being consistent, making the videos. Now, if you realize that that's very important because you've got to be seen, you've got to be, we're talking about getting YouTube University. We start with YouTube, but all platforms are very important because you want to be seen on all the platforms. So if you start one way, if you start getting frustrated because you're like, why am I not getting viral? Why don't I have these views? Why don't I have whatever? But you know that, oh, timing or location or maybe the right person can help assist you. It's not just you. Maybe it is just you, but there's these features and parts of it that affect you, right? So that is the week. Step by step, but don't force outcomes. And if you do need some advice, like I said, like come and be a beta tester. Come try it out. Come see what it shows for you. So you can be able to make better decisions in your own life. So as we go through the week, it's really start small, but build, right? So we're just building on ideas. Stay flexible, especially the middle of the week. Be really flexible. Reflect before making major decisions. So really, take a moment before you decide to jump full into something that might be a big decision. And use insights gained by the end of the week. So whatever you've learned, whatever you're kind of coming to terms with, insights are going to be important to go forward into next week. So that's the overall energy. But let's get into today and tomorrow. So we're looking at Sunday and Monday. We got the numerology of days 1 and 2. So the phase of day 1, we're really bringing initiation, direction, self-definition, and a spark of movement. So a desire to begin, decide, reclaim, or clarity. Like that's the energy today. When we move into tomorrow, Monday, it shifts to universal day 2, which is the pace. It gets slower and turns the attention to relationships and emotional sensitivity. So cooperation, timing, and what needs to be handled with more awareness. So it's interesting because I was talking about timing and people. So if that's a big part of your charts, tomorrow's going to be kind of an alignment on the numerological end, right? So taken together, it's really what needs to begin. How should I work with this carefully and connect with others? That is the numerological theme of today and tomorrow. When we get into the elements, we've got the Western moon is in Aquarius, and Vedic, it's Capricorn to Aquarius. So it's earth and to air is what we're seeing. And this really points out practical evaluation and responsibility, and gradually opens to ideas, perspectives, community awareness, and new ways of thinking, right? Start grounded, measured, and it becomes more mentally active and future oriented. So we're learning, we're changing, we're coming up with new ways of thinking, which is really kind of get my app a little bit, right? It's a new way of thinking of how to plan your life. Where is there ease? Where will there be restrictions? Where do you move with your charts personally, right? And that is a new way of thinking. We've got the old way that you've got Vedic, or you've got Western, or you've got numerology, or you've got the elements. Human design is going to come into this as well. Not there yet. But they're all segregated. They're all in different places. So you have to go over here, and then you're trying to be like, okay, well, it shows this and it shows this, but how does that really affect me, right? So it's a new way of thinking is how all of these systems, what overlaps in them, what's different in each of them, but what overlaps and will assist you. So I new ways of thinking, new ways of the way we want to go forward. Now, in the Vedic, with the moon in Capricorn to Aquarius, it's bringing in for today and tomorrow, the collective may start to begin emphasizing responsibility, timelines, realism, and what is structurally sound. And then as the moon shifts into the Aquarius, it becomes more experimental, detached, observant, and open to alternatives. So that's what we're kind of seeing on the Vedic. With the Western, where we got the moon in Aquarius, it's we're leaning towards emotional objectivity, pattern recognition, and stepping back to see what is actually happening. So it's less focus on emotional fusion and more on the perspective of truth and where change may be needed. And you can definitely see that. Like, I don't know. I always talk about Facebook being kind of an insane place to be, but there's a lot of places and groups where perspective needs to change. Like, we're so rigid in our beliefs that it stops us from doing things, stops us. I will bring up again where I've made people so mad on one group. It's an awaken homeschooler group posting out. There's all these people, it was a few weeks ago, and there was so much fear about cancer, so much fear about cancer. And I stated cancer is not a death sentence. That made people really mad. I talked about this. Well, let's fast forward to this week. And there was a posting, which I've seen, and then somebody posted on Facebook about the CIA literally hiding solutions to this, okay? Hiding solutions. So I share this in the group because I'm still like, you guys are losing your minds. Like, there is solutions to this. This is not a death sentence. I want to bring you out of fear. That's my perspective. I want you to not be in fear. Holy, the same people in this group. This group has hundreds of people in this group. Same people that attacked me in the last one. As soon as because I didn't remember their names and I wasn't going to go look at it. I'm not that petty. As soon as they started commenting, I'm like, oh my gosh, I recognize the name. Oh, I recognize the name. I'm like, holy, losing it again. Like, so angry. And then like, what do you have to say? And I was actually ignoring them because I was like, I don't want to get in your drama. Like, you guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely insane, emotionally insane, and cannot see anything. Like, you've blocked your perspective of reality, that you're not willing to hear things. So I posted after they were like, what do you have to say? I'm like, I don't have anything to say. I really don't. I'm going to say it's the same thing I already said. Cancer is not a death sentence. It never was. It's not. If you want to live in fear, that is a you problem. That's not me. I'm not your enemy. I'm here attempting to give you perspective. That is really my goal. I'm attempting to give you perspective to live out of fear. But I did make a comment that it really shows a lot about you and who you are by the way you guys have attacked me. I want to bring levity. I want to come back to neutrality. I want to come back to, can we have a conversation? But again, I did see a posting where it's like, remember when we could disagree, but we could still have conversations? Well, no, that doesn't seem to happen. Now it's literally rage. How dare you disagree with me? Holy, no wonder we've lost the plot. No wonder we're struggling. We can't even have a conversation. And when new evidence is given, how do you respond? When you are given new information, do you literally go, screw you, I don't believe you? No, it doesn't fit into my little niche reality I have built. And even with this new information, I will not take it. Well, you're gonna struggle. You're not allowing yourself this opportunity to evolve and learn. And if it's true that this new information still doesn't validate your purpose or your point, fair enough. But how are you going to know if you don't even want to look at it? So we have to come back to like becoming adults in this reality, leveling up. But also the fear of death. The fear of death is such a weird thing to me. Like, I don't fear death. I actually fear coming back and living another life. I want to be done. I believe in reincarnation. I have no doubt in my own personal life that is real. Whether you agree with me or not, you don't have to argue with me, but I know that I chose to come here. And based on my charts and the things I've struggled with, my fear is I want to evolve that I don't have to come back, that I can choose as a soul to either just be the little soul, the little bubble haunting people, or come back as a human. I don't know if I don't want to come back as a human. I'm good. I'm okay. I get when I pass on, I get to go and laugh about this life, and I'll probably reflect on why I struggled so much, realizing it's an illusion. It is an illusion, right? And the more we step out to realize how much is manipulated around us, we're fighting things that are not real. These are illusions. These aren't real things. Most of these things don't even actually affect us. And we're getting so emotionally upset on things that we can't even control too, right? So the overall collective view when we go to the astrology for today and tomorrow is really confronting practical realities, obligations that feel heavy, but the energy does not stay there. We're opening towards insight, collaborations, and new possibilities. New possibilities. And strong opening for noticing what needs to shift without forcing, right? So it's becoming clear, noticing without forcing things. And if we get open to new perspective, that is going to help us so much more. Because when we're closed from the perspective or closed from listening to other people, we're not going to we're going to struggle more. I do believe you're going to struggle more overall when you do not have that ability and that flexibility to see or hear other opinions. It's going to be a struggle. And so it's really today confronting practical realities, obligations, and seeing new possibilities, right? And you can't see new possibilities if you are stuck in an old way of thinking. You are never going to see a new possibility when you are stuck and not open to hearing other people's opinions. Same thing. It's happening all over the place. All over the place. You'll have people that just refuse to listen or will say, "Oh, I had somebody that posted like, "Oh, you get your information from YouTube." I'm like, well, actually, I didn't get this information from YouTube because it was actually censored, but you can attack me because of this, but my own experiences, my own investigations, I'm willing to look at things. I'm willing to adjust my opinion based on new evidence. And I will never, ever, besides the fact that cancer is not a death sentence, which I do believe because your own belief in things is actually very important. That I will stick my guns to. Whatever you believe, you do create. So if you believe it's a death sentence and you're going to die because you were diagnosed with cancer, you're going to manifest that. If you don't, and if you want, I've got a great lady. I did a video with her. Her name's Tanya, and her doctor told her something that she said was BS. And she fought it. She fought it because she was told that she had such a little chance of survival, and she pretty much fired the doctor because she didn't believe it. And she's like almost 20 years past when that happened. Believing is a big part. So the strongest energy for today and tomorrow is we're urging to release your direction, your commitments, and who and what belongs in the next step forward. The energy favors honest observation before action. So observing and then taking steps, not in these closed perspectives and then making action based on things that you won't even observe. That's not going to actually help you. So as we make it through, what we might imagine seeing in the collective for today and tomorrow is people are reassessing responsibilities, long-term obligations, and where they feel overwhelmed. Groups may be moving from duty, pressure, and strategy to shared visions. And we might realize problems require new perspectives, a new way of thinking, rather than more effort. Doing the same thing over is actually considered insanity, right? So you're going to keep doing and pushing the same thing with the assuming a different outcome is considered insanity. However, I will put a caveat. Learning all about Saturn and how mine's like, keep doing stuff with nobody giving you feedback seems like insane. So I kind of fight a little bit on that, but new perspective more than effort is the energy on the collective for today and tomorrow. And conversations open the door to new collaborations, alliances, and community-based thinking. So it is about new conversations, new perspectives, maybe talking to somebody that you don't agree with and coming to something new because as I've stated before, maybe it's not this Like we got extremes, this end and this end. Maybe neither ends are right. And if we meet in the middle, that might be the most truthful. That might be the new perspective. That might be the way we really fix things. Are we open to that? Right? Are we? That's going to be the collective. Now, how we imagine in our own lives today and tomorrow is stepping back and evaluating your current commitments. What still fits who you're becoming? Are you changing? Are you awakening to a lot of new information? Does it no longer fit you, right? Like, have you learned things and you're like, it's really difficult for me to now continue doing this, right? And participating in this because even though I've been my whole life believed this, but now I'm seeing there's problems with it. Do we want to take these problems forward or are we ready to step outside of it, right? And there's a lot of things. One of the biggest examples I go is, for example, my father-in-law having diabetes. He was on all these drugs, and my mother gave him a new perspective, said, okay, let's try blah, blah, blah. So they literally just stopped taking them and they went into a more natural herb spice-based therapy. Went to his doctor's appointment. He's now no longer has his diabetes and he's off of all of his medication. And that only was because of the willing to step back, evaluate, and see if that really even fit who he was. He didn't want to be part of the system, doesn't want to be on the medication. So taking that step back, reflecting and trying something different. Obviously, if there's doing, you listen to yourself. You're not going to put yourself in harm's way. Like if you start getting sicker or something, that's a whole different thing. But he got better and better, and now he doesn't have to be on the medication. That is a perfect example of what we should be doing in our own lives, right? Is stepping back, evaluating, and then deciding how we want to go forward. If this doesn't fit who we are because we've learned something new or we're seeing a new perspective, it's time to take different steps. That is highly supported at this moment. Conversations may help you see a situation and be more detached or have a more intelligent angle, right? So talking to people that maybe you don't agree with, or maybe people that have triggered you because you're like, I don't want to believe that. Wait, maybe I should hear what they have to say, right? A different angle, a different perspective. Also in our personal lives, we might imagine today and tomorrow carrying too much responsibility without enough support. Now, I know this can be very much, especially for moms. I see this all over about burnout and we're doing so much and we expect ourselves to be these superheroes. It's not possible. Sometimes you have to just step back and be like, you don't have to do it all. Or maybe your whole perspective has to change. Mine happened with homeschooling. Homeschooling was a big thing. If you're trying to fit school at home, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. My change came when I finally surrendered because I wanted to, oh, my daughter needs to have this grade level, whatever. When I stepped back and I finally said, okay, this isn't working. I'm upset. I'm struggling. I stepped back, reflected, and went, you know what? What? I've got non-negotiables, but how do I work with my daughter and go into a collaborative way of learning? Once I stepped back and really went into a collaborative way where she had a lot of say in what she was learning. So, yeah, she still has to write, still has to do math. She gets to choose. If she doesn't like it, we're not doing it. If she's not motivated to do it, we're dropping it. We're going to find something because there's so many resources now. It's not like in the 80s and 90s. There's so many resources, and you can even make your own now that you're empowered to stop and collaborate with your child. And the more you collaborate with them and allow them to run into their natural abilities, let them fly with their natural abilities. But of course, they still got to function in reality so that they need to know how to read, write, do math, etc. But you let them lead it. It was huge. That was a huge change in my struggles with homeschooling. And now I feel like I don't even feel like I homeschool. It's so funny. It's like, what's your homeschooling style? Like, she does stuff that she wants. I make sure, we've got the list. She has a little agenda and she has to do certain things each day. And she shows me and we see progress, but she leads it. And it's interesting because one of the things I really wanted her to do, but I never actually thought she would do, was cursive writing. Okay. Because she needs to know cursive writing. Like, it really bothers me. And I'm like, well, can we just do practice each day? Just a sentence or two practicing. Well, now she's taken the initiative that her dailies when she's writing is done in cursive. She likes writing in cursive. That took her initiative. She now does initiative to write everything in cursive. I didn't have to fight. I didn't have to force her. It became out of her own wanting when I stepped back. And that was the magic of doing that and changing my perspective. Does that work for everybody? I'm not going to say it's going to work for everybody. It was just an example of how changing the way you view things, stepping back, having a greater view of it can actually make your life easier when you surrender a little bit, that you can't control everything. You will never be able to control everything. And again, with your charts and how you're built, that will affect it as well. Also, now, how to make it through today and tomorrow. And since I've gone on and it's 40 minutes and we've only got today and tomorrow, so I will attempt to get this going faster. How to survive Monday and Sunday and Monday is today would be notice what wants to begin, what wants to change, and what no longer feels aligned. Today, whatever comes up, it's noticing it today. That is important. Anything that needs to change, this is the day to notice it. And then tomorrow is really about observing timing, communication, and other people to factor into your next step. So kind of observing. Again, we're still kind of in that planning stages for where we're going to change. Start with truth, not urgency. That is highly supported. And let practical awareness come first to let the broader perspective flow. And making a short list. What is sound and what only looks surface stable but isn't stable? You know, like if you literally pulled one piece, the whole Jenga would just fall, right? And it's being truthful with that, because there's a lot of things we hold on to and we believe and want that structure to stay. We're like, no, the structure must stay this way. No. We have to be truthful, because we can't fix things if we don't realize it's not built on a foundation that is stable. And do not rush to fix everything. Real patterns will show themselves first. That is for today and tomorrow. Be aware of it. Be observant. That will help you. So for Sunday, Monday, reassess commitments. Notice where your energy is draining. Stay open to perspectives. Let conversations reveal what is next, and avoid forcing action for clarity. So we're not going to go forward. We're not going to streamline. I don't know. It's like thinking of like being a bull just fighting through the fence. We're going to stop, make sure we have clarity, and then act on the clarity. So I'm going to pick a card, bringing back the Oracle card. So we'll pick a card for how to survive Sunday, Monday, what the guides state. So I'll pick from I like my fairies. I think they're cute. Whether anybody else does. I actually do these videos for myself more than anybody else. If you guys watch and enjoy it, that is who I'm talking to. But I do this for me. We are light. Oh, wow. Okay, let me see. Make sure I can get that light. A little bit of a reflection here. Wow. The fairy queen of light comes to shed love and light onto the current situation, and to remind you that light can penetrate the darkness. That's a new perspective. I'm going to say the light is new perspective. It's changing things. It's that idea of not forcing, getting clarity. Light comes in the clarity. I've done a lot of spiritual work. And there was a time where I did this meditation, and it took me into this visualization of this, because I was very scared. I was very scared of not living because of a situation that had happened, and being diagnosed with a heart condition that I legitimately don't even acknowledge exists anymore in my life, because I was diagnosed over 10 years ago. Like, oh my God, it's like 11, 12 years ago at this point. It was a random thing. It never changed my life. I'm still exactly the same before I was diagnosed with it to after. The only thing that changes now is this knowledge. But it really threw me into going, oh my gosh, am I going to live to see my daughter? Am I going to be here to help her, right? Like, that is actually the fear that came up. And I did this meditation, and it brought me into a visualization of a corner. And it was like I was scared of this corner. I was scared of this corner in this visualization of this station. And then I immediately like, I need to turn on the light. And I turned on the light in this. And literally there was nothing there. Idea that once we shed the light, everything changes. Light brings it forward that it's not so scary. Things are scarier when we don't understand them. When it's in the dark, it's scarier. When we can turn on the light, when we can move forward, see, it's not scary anymore. And that's really the light coming forward, right? Reassessing, having more clarity. Beautiful. Let's continue. How we continue in the week. We're going into Tuesday and Wednesday. So the overall numerology, the universal day is day 3 to 4. So we're going through highlighting communication, expression, realization, messaging, and pattern recognition needs to be spoken, named, and acknowledged. That's what we're going to say on Tuesday. These things that we're recognizing need to be talked about, need to be spoken, need to be shared. Then when we get to the Wednesday with the numerology of 4, we're really ground into reality. We're grounding what we are seeing into this realm. So it's movement from insight and expression to grounding and practical organization. That's where we're going to see it. Now, the elements for Tuesday and Wednesday, Western we're in the Pisces moon, and in the Vedic, we're in Aquarius. So it's air to water is really the elements for Tuesday and Wednesday. So what we're bringing is bridging thoughts and feelings. The Vedic Aquarius moon is field observant, mental awareness. And then the Western Pisces opens emotional and intuitive layer. So really they both bring insight begins to move from the mind to the heart. So we're seeing things, but now we're really feeling them at a deeper level. That is what those elements bring. And when we get into the Vedic, so again, we've got the Vedic moon is in Aquarius. So the collective is going to remain focused on patterns, social awareness, seeing things in a wider, less personal perspective. Also emphasizing discernment, observation, and future implications are being realized. That seems appropriate for the stuff we're seeing on the collective, on the whole, right? We're starting to maybe realize what are the future implications of the things we're seeing. On the Western part with the moon in Pisces, it's emotional sensitivity increasing, intuition is louder, subtle feelings are harder to ignore. So those things that have been nagging in the background, we can't ignore them anymore. They're going to become more prevalent. People may feel more reflective, compassionate, or inward. Realization begins to land emotionally, not just mentally. So again, moving from the head into the heart. We're really feeling that. So it's less about pushing ahead, more about understanding and becoming clarity in what we're doing. Something may first appear as an idea, message, or conversation, or an observation. It will then deepen into emotional truth, spiritual realization, something we can't ignore. So you may feel realization gathering beneath the surface, especially conversations, dreams, emotional responses, intuitive nudges, and moments of quiet honesty. Those are all going to come up with that astrology. Now, what we might imagine on the collective. So as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday, so that's the 17th and 18th, group conversations are revealing truths easily that maybe they were overlooked, right? So truths that might have been overlooked, or a lot of people just kind of like, nah, that's not important. We don't know what you're talking about. Psh, that's not true. We were overlooking them. Now they're coming up to being, no, beep, beep, beep. Maybe we have to go back, relook at this, reassess, right? Social and collective themes are more emotionally personal than expected. So we might feel that what is happening in the collective feels much more personal than we would want it to be. People are drawn towards reflection, creativity, spirituality, and emotional honesty. We want that honesty. We want to see the truth. We want to know you're not AI. And it's funny because somebody got mad at me. I have to bring up the story because we have in Canada a situation that happened, and this person did some bad stuff to a bunch of kids and then to themselves. Okay. And they're going to go back. The family of the one of the victims that did not is suffering, but did not no longer exists here, is still existing, is going to go sue OpenAI. And I pointed out, this is not OpenAI. Like, this legitimately is systemic to the family and the government. The government. There is things that this government did. The government allowed this person, they took away guns and then gave them back. They knew this person was not mentally stable. The government and the family gave them hormones and puberty blockers that made them insane. But no, we're going to ignore the actual facts, because by the time this person actually started dealing with AI, they were already messed up. AI was not necessarily the problem. It might have triggered them over the edge because it mirrors them, but AI was not the problem. Straight up was not the problem. But let's not look at the problem. Let's blame AI because they have money. So we can sue them and then make AI look like it's totally the problem. We have to come to terms that AI is actually not a horrible tool. It is not. But we have to become realistic of what we expect from it. And knowing things like, statistically, AI will always agree with you. So if you're telling it a story about what happened, it's going to always side with you. Right? So even if you're wrong, you have to tell it, please. Even if I'm wrong, can you tell me or give me a perspective? That is actually how I use it, because I will use AI to psychologically diagnose people. The reason I do this is based on who I am. I do not understand the mass majority of people and their headspaces. I struggle with that understanding, realizing that the way my brain thinks is not the normal. So I'll go, okay, this is a situation that happened. Can you explain with clarity why this happened? So, like, the whole thing of being attacked about saying cancer is not a death sentence, can you explain why this happens? What is going on? And then it will actually tell me so I can get a better perspective. But I also realize that I go with it knowing it's a tool. And then when I get annoyed and I argue with it, I'm just like, I'm done with this conversation. We're done. And I'll just open and start doing something else more productive, right? So coming back to realizing that we need to be more aware of how that works, right? So it's realization beginning to land that we're that's where it's going, right? Like, it's not what is the real truth, right? So the realization of the surface truth we can't ignore. So how the group is so overlooking the things that are really the truth, right? That is the point. People may feel drawn towards reflection, creativity, spirituality, and emotional honesty. And so that's what we're going to see. That's really the collective for Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, on the personal end, conversations give us insight into emotional responses that'll show you what truly matters. We'll feel more intuitive, more sensitive, but more aware of what we've been trying to detach from. And so, what we've been maybe trying to run from or hide from, those are going to become more obvious. Also, the realization personally, we might imagine, is shifting how we see a relationship, a commitment, or a choice. We're shifting. We're evolving. We are being called to evolve. That's personally as well as collectively. And we may feel pulled to say something out loud, but only after we've been thinking about it privately. So we've been kind of contemplating it, and now we're like, you know what? Like, this no longer compute. I can't ignore it. I need to tell you what I'm seeing. And that's encouraged. That is something you'll feel. Now, how to make it through Tuesday, Wednesday, so that's the 17th and 18th, is the 17th will notice what is trying to come into words, awareness, and clearer understanding. So by the 18th, we really ground that realization, something practical, organized, or concrete. Things to do, write down your insights before they get blurred and you forget them. So journal, write down is highly recommended. Protect your energy from noise, distraction, and unnecessary input. So again, if you are on social media, might be a good time if you're like, oh my God, this is overwhelming me. You're losing your mind. Step away from the noise, right? If something feels emotionally charged, ask what truth is sitting beneath it. That's how we reflect. So if you are emotionally charged, like the people that are like, person that yelled at me, do you get your truth from YouTube? Well, why is this triggering you? Because you believe so much in your big pharma stabs. that you refuse to see other information, so you attack people by name calling. That's clearly you're not actually looking at what's sitting underneath it and why it's triggering you, right? Also, how to survive for Tuesday, Wednesday is expression to be honest. Decisions become stronger and structured. And don't confuse emotional intensity with confusion. Clarity is arriving through feelings. So, this is also something I've mentioned before. Emotions are not a weakness. Emotions are things we need to get in tune with so we can get more clear. And that's going to actually help us is our emotional clarity. But if we're emotionally out of whack, don't necessarily act on it, right? Be careful with what we're acting on. Um, but use those emotions and your intuition to help bring the clarity and build order around what becomes clear instead of waiting for perfect certainty. Because sometimes we're not going to get perfect certainty. We might struggle to find clarity. So trusting your instincts and what you're seeing is going to be your best bet. So Tuesday, Wednesday, speak or write what is becoming clear. Pay attention to your emotional truth. Ground insight into your next steps and reduce the noise and overstimulation. Take a step back. Organize the week. Organize what the week is revealing. So the week is going to start to show things, and it's about organizing it. So let's pull one card for Tuesday, Wednesday. Again with my fairies. Okay. My daughter's just coming in to grab stuff. So don't mind if you hear some background noise. Okay, let's bring our fairies here. What is the fairy message for Tuesday, Wednesday? Oh, friendship. Interesting. Make sure I got that in both my cameras here. Perfect. We've got fairies and humans alike need friends. Now is the time to seek out those who will support and encourage you on your journey to fulfill your dreams. So this is about, I feel like that totally feels appropriate, right? Because we're getting more clarity, more truth. So it's going to be who is more aligned? Who are you seeing that's saying things that match what you're feeling, right? Who are those people that are talking and that resonate? And those are going to be those friendships, whether they're best friends or just acquaintances, doesn't matter. It's the idea of finding those people that are your people, right? And that's going to come up with this clarity is finding your people. And they're finding you. That's coming into it and is part of early in the week. Beautiful. Find those people. I want to find my people. Are you my people? I don't know. If you're watching me, maybe. And if I don't know. Oh, I've got a chat. Let's take a moment because we're halfway through the week. I quit my job. Oh, wow. Let's mow. I believe you were here last week. You quit your job. Was that a realization? That, I don't know if it's good or bad. I would recommend let's mow together that if you're starting your own business, that would be highly aligned. But if you want to know more, come and be a beta tester. Come join, be a beta tester, and help give you some guidance on the next steps. Because if you quit your job and you're going through that, which I think a lot of people are, a lot of people, I know in Canada, we lost 100,000 jobs. 100,000 jobs. What are you going to do? All the job growth has been in government. We've got to, what are you going to do with your life, right? Do you need some guidance? This is going to help you. Like, come and find out. Come be a beta tester. Come get some clarity. That is also rolls up that I have a few things to offer. Take this little moment. Please do like, share, and subscribe so you stay up to date with everything that I'm making and doing. And in the description of this video, I do have links to I have a monthly overview for March. I know we're halfway through the month, so might be a little out of date, but I do have make your orientation. So it is March to August, and it's giving 6 months of what the energies are coming forward. So if you're not interested in being beta tester, but you want to see what's coming forward into August and going forward with clarity, check out that PDF as well. All of the links are in my description, so you can try them out or become a beta tester and try it out and see what the system says for you. Because I can't tell you if it's good or not. However, I'm saying if you're following your intuition and following what feels right, you are in alignment. That is the truth. When you follow what your guidance, your internal guidance is telling you, you won't get wrong. Might not be easy, but you know what? Anything worth doing is never easy. That is the truth. If it comes too easy, is not real. Actually, I was watching, what's her name? I'm sure most of you guys might have seen her. Hope Scope. She's doing, I tested too good to be true side hustles. They are too good to be true. Like, she's saying, for me to get payout of the app's $25 is like the minimum payout. She's got to do like, I don't know, something ridiculous. Some like 6 months of, or hours and hours of something, right? Like 39 hours. One of the things she realized, she was making like 33 cents an hour playing these games, right? So I guess if you have nothing else to do, you eventually get something, but that is like, is that even worth your time, right? Is that worth your time? Or is it building what is truthful and honest and starting to make steps to go forward in your own life, right? Like, you're starting over. Quit your job. You're starting over. You got laid off. You're starting over. AI is replacing people. You're kind of being forced to reflect on your life. This is a time to assess, right? What is really worth building? And what's interesting is I did have the conversation with AI I read about one company is replacing HR with AI, which is super, in my opinion, dangerous. Like, you can use AI to assist with people doing an HR job, but AI is not a person. How are No, we need HR to be, that's human resources. We now have an artificial intelligence doing human resources. Seems dangerous and like a dumb move by a company. I personally would never work for a company that's going to use AI as their HR. Then the AI might as well go hire other AI so it can then, tell that AI that it's doing something wrong, because it's not human. It's like me explaining when I'm talking to AI, I'm like, I get you don't understand this because you're not a human. That is a problem, right? So some jobs I just are too risky to be replaced with AI. I'm just saying, but that's a side note for another day. Okay, let's continue. Halfway through the week, let's round this up. Thursday and Friday, we've got a Universal Days 5 to 6, which is bringing movement. So day 5 is bringing movement, change, disruption, release, redirection. The need to break from the feeling of stale or misalignment. And then day 6 brings what deserves your care, loyalty, responsibility, and emotional investment. So it really brings attention back to relationships, home, harmony, and what truly matters. That is what it's bringing through Thursday and Friday. We have the element fields. So the Western is in Aries for the moon, and the Vedic is in Pisces. So we've got water to fire for the elements. And this phase carries emotional sensitivity of water beneath the urgency. Forward force of fire. Something wants to release first and then can be acted on. So when we come into Thursday, Friday, there is a danger. So this is an important thing to note of acting from agitation instead of acting from clarity. So if we're acting out of just annoyance, aggravation versus a perspective of clarity, it's not going to be as good. So do be aware of that, especially when we come into Thursday, Friday. Now with the Vedic, as I mentioned, the moon is in Pisces. So what the collective, we're going to feel more introspective, compassionate, vulnerable, or spiritually attuned. So this can bring endings, emotional release, surrender, forgiveness, and strong awareness of what has quietly been building under the surface. The Western, we've got our moon in Aries. So that is emotional tones are becoming more immediate. So there's a lot of emotion this week for sure. So more immediate, direct, and action oriented. So once something becomes clear, the instinct is to move, assert, confront, or begin again. So we can feel refreshing if clarity has landed. So if we've got clarity, it's going to feel refreshing, but impulsive if it has not. So it's not clear. We might feel like that's that aggravation, that movement without clarity, right? So making sure it's not impulsive, making sure it's really a clear step. So the combined view, Vedic and Western, is really something may need to be released, grieved, acknowledged, or emotionally completed before we move forward, so we can move forward cleanly, taking the steps So once the clearing happens, the desire to act may rise quickly. And the week shifts from inner truth to momentum at this point. So when we get into Thursday, Friday, it is then the momentum that starts to go forward. Feeling both the need to let something go and the urge to begin again. The strongest energies come from acting after the emotional truth is visible, not before it. Now, how we might imagine making it through the collective, how we might see the collective on Thursday and Friday, is emotional truths may surface in relationships, creative work, or spiritual reflection. We may suddenly feel, oh, my husband is leaving and taking my computer. So I've got his here. So again, something may feel ready to leave behind draining patterns and stale obligations on the collective. We also may feel and see, imagining on the collective, compassion, forgiveness, and a closure to create a major turning point. That would be wonderful, right? Turning, going forward. Momentum may rise quickly once something resolves is finally acknowledged. So we'll have to see how that happens on the collective. What is actually going to be acknowledged so we can go forward clearly? Now, on our personal side, what we might imagine is we need to release an expectation, a fear, resentment, or an attachment that has been shaping our choices because they're not shaping them correctly, right? So, emotional honesty may immediately show you what actions to take next and more protective of your energy, relationships, time, and home life. Spiritual creative realization could trigger a cleaner decision of what to go forward with next. And then how to make it through Thursday, Friday, coming into the weekend. Thursday is noticing what's changing, what is loosening, and what we're ready to let go of and purge. Friday returns what deserves real care, responsibility, and steadiness. And letting change happens first, and then we choose what we are going to commit to. Do not confuse emotional urgency with true readiness. So we might feel like, oh my, but again, the more reflective, the more we can internally look at it, the better, right? Like, don't just because we emotionally want to, is it actually right? My dogs are having a moment. Boys! I would love to say dogs always get along, but they don't. And then sometimes you're like, you're all good and you're all trained. Seriously, you get along. Seriously. Okay. And something feels chaotic. If something feels chaotic through Thursday and Friday, ask what it's trying to free you from. This is the question, starting to really reflect. If something matters, give it structure, loyalty, and presence. And choose actions that protect matters rather than scattering your energy. And let your intuition and your responsibility speak to each other before making a decision. So Thursday, Friday, release what is stale or emotionally complete. Notice the changes that are needed. Move only after clarity and return responsibility and care. Protect what matters the most. That's how we make it. Let's pull one card and then we'll get through to Saturday and Sunday. So our message for Thursday, Friday. Tree wisdom. I know I have never ever pulled that card. That is crazy. This tree die red will help you navigate through your current situation. Her flute can reveal insights and answers through the sounds it makes. I'm going to say that again. Tree wisdom. This tree dyad will help you to navigate through your current situation. That's all we're talking about is navigating, right? It's if something feels chaotic, it's reviewing and reflecting what it's trying to free you from, what it's trying to bring in. And if something matters, we want to give it structure and loyalty and a presence. So choosing actions that protect what matters rather than scattering our energy. And that seems like that's a tree wisdom right here, right? So helps you navigate through your current situation. Her flute can reveal insights and answers through the sound it makes. Love it. So appropriate. Okay, so as we finish up, so we're getting in till we meet next week, next Sunday, the 22nd. I'll be here same time, same place. You can find me on all of the different platforms. You might be watching me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I believe I'm on Substack as well. I don't have enough followers on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, go follow me and then I can go live there. Or if you don't like me, I guess don't, because I won't make you. Don't do what it doesn't feel right. I don't know why you're listening to me then if it doesn't feel right, but sure. Let's have another sip of coffee. So Saturday, Sunday, we come into Universal Numerology Day 7 and 8. Day 7 is reflective, inward, analytical, spiritual, and truth seeking. What it's looking for is pause, processing, perspective, PPP, pause, processing, perspective, and deeper understanding. Same kind of themes we're continuing through this week. When we get into Saturday or Sunday, next Sunday, when we come back, it's leadership, power, material focus, strength, and momentum. Visible forward movement. It's asking for confident authority and results. So, movement from reflection, internal clarity to empowered action and grounded momentum. That's what we're getting coming into next weekend. We've got the elements, so our Western, wherein the moon is in Taurus, and in the Vedic, we're in Aries. So, what we're looking at is the phase begins with courage, heat, instinct, and forward motion, and it settles into stability, practical grounding, and what can actually hold. The weekend moves from ignition into embodiment. So with the Vedic moon in Aries, the collective may feel more assertive, direct, impatient, bold, and ready to move forward. We're ready. We're done. We're ready to take some steps forward. Leadership energy increases. We're looking for leaders. We're looking for the leaders that are going to come and assist, right? People may feel less willing to stay passive and wait for permission. Or we're ready to take initiative. We're ready to take the steps. We're empowered. On the Western collective, we've got the moon in Taurus. So the emotional field is steadies and turns towards security, values, peace, body awareness, and resources. It's what can be trusted to last. Tempers and this tempers the Aries fire and the need for the real world anchoring. So what we're looking at overall with the Western and Vedic astrology, first comes the recognition of what must be done, then the desire to ground the decisions into something that is stable and sustainable. Not only stable, because we can sometimes make things that are that aren't going to work stable. That is what I'm learning through building an app, is a lot of people can build something that looks like it's functioning, but is it sustainable, right? It might be temporarily stable, which is some of the things I'm finding. Boys! Seriously. Boys. That's what I'm finding with my own process, is that it looked like it was stable, but that's not going to be sustainable if it looks stable, but it's not, right? Because if I want to build more features and I want it to work better and I want it to not hallucinate, I've got to make sure that it is stable so it can be sustainable, so it can go forward and I can add extra features with more ease and being corrective. So when we go forward, the clearest action phase of the week, this is the clearest action phase of the week is Saturday, Sunday, but it works best when the action is not reactive. So if we're doing it from an emotional and it's not clear, it's just not going to work as well, right? Like it's just not going to help with that action. And confidence grows when it's rooted, true, and is actually true and worth building. So if it's true and it's worth building, it'll become more apparent. So what we might imagine, Max, I know it's you, dude. Dogs are totally like little kids. And then they argue. My two. But I do have a Great Pyrenees that needs to get snipped. So I think that's going to solve a lot of things, because we've been waiting for him to fully mature, which he is now, just over the 18 months, where they recommend, because I did some research, and unfortunately, statistically, if they are neutered earlier, and they can have more joint issues. So we've been waiting for him to be a certain age before we do that, but I think it does cause some testicular problems. It's coming. Okay, so what we might imagine on that, because I know too much information. Do you care about my dogs and whether they're not snipped or snipped? Okay, collective examples to make it through Saturday, Sunday, what we might see and imagine on the whole is people acting on what they have been sensing all week. So what we're sensing, what we're seeing, what we're digesting is coming, and we're starting to make and take actions in that alignment. Leadership energy may become more visible in groups, projects, and conversations. So we're just, oh, these are the leaders, even if they don't have a leadership title, right? We're becoming more aware of who really is the leaders. We might also imagine decisions about money, value, security, timing, and priorities are getting sharper. They might start to get more sharp, more apparent on the collective. And on the collective, we might also imagine momentum, may begin feeling tangible rather than theoretical. So maybe we've had a lot of theoretical, but now we're starting to see things are, oh, maybe this will really work. Oh, maybe there is really traction. Right? Now, in our personal lives, what we might imagine for Saturday and Sunday is feeling ready to commit to a decision we have been circling all week. So maybe it's like me using the homeschooling, finally coming to a point where I was ready to step back and look at it a different way, right? And once I did, it changed my whole relationship with my daughter, the whole relationship with homeschooling. Once I took a step back to reflect on it and circled around it, it changed my reality. It did, and it changed everything with it. Biddy! It's like I call their names, and then they stop, and then it's like 2 minutes, and then they're arguing again. And I need to go and deal with them. We'll also see in our own personal life. Imagine practical steps may finally feel obvious, and we may feel more protective of our time, peace, finances, body, or long-term stability. And we might imagine something that we began as an inner realization is now we want to take visible action, right? So we've realized it. Now we're taking steps for it. So how we survive through next weekend, coming back to meet me again, it'll be 11:11 Eastern, which is then I think 8:11 on Pacific. So in between, wherever you are, North America. If you're overseas, you have to do your own timing because that's just too much timing for me. How we might make it through surviving next weekend. So next Saturday is reflection, processing, and spiritual and mental clarity before we act. And Sunday is grounded actions, leadership, and practical follow through. So let reflections sharpen your aim before you move. Choose actions that strengthen your foundation rather than creating more chaos. Anchor momentum into something sustainable. And trust what is becoming clear enough to act on. Favor steadiness over dramatic force. And building what lasts, not just what feels exciting in the moment. So it's like coming to this app was exciting, but it has to be lasting. If I'm building something that doesn't add sustenance, isn't stable, then I've wasted my time. That's how I feel with my app. That's why all my beta testers are doing it for free. I feel bad. Like if it's not perfect, I don't want you paying for it. I get there's some things that are not perfect on it, but I also don't want to build on something that's going to hallucinate and give you wrong guidance. Then I'm doing a disservice to both myself and to whoever uses it. And really, I built this app was really because I wanted the app. And then you just get to come for a ride with something that I wanted to build to answer my own questions. So as we go through Saturday, Sunday, and we meet here again next week, reflect first, act from clarity, not pressure. So if somebody's like, make a decision, step back, make sure you're taking a clear step, not being forced. Commit to what is stable and real. And again, get grounded, practical steps, and momentum becomes sustainable. So that is how we go. So everything is really, if we look at this week overall, it really is the idea that we're learning something. Something's coming into our realm. We're digesting it. We're mentally digesting it. It's going to make it down that we're now emotionally taking it in. And then we're going to start putting practical steps built on being sustainable. That's how we go forward in the week. Let's pull one final card for the overall for the week and what the fairies have for us. And I find it interesting because I was pulling the card all the time. If you followed me for a while, I was doing a lot of oracle card readings before I got into this part, into deep diving into my own charts and building this app, which is now where I take it. Some of these cards I never pulled before. So I find this quite amazing that, for how many times I've pulled these cards, how many have been coming up as ones that I hadn't actually seen before. But let's pull the overall energy for next week. Oop, that one flew out at me. Again. Okay, maybe you might believe I'm full of crap, but I've not pulled this one before, and there's no incentive to lie. But whether you believe or not, I have never pulled this before. We got healing. Let me make sure it's in both. There we go. Healing. I know this can't. There we go. A little bit less shine here. It's pretty. I love the blue dress. It reminds me of Cinderella. Now is the time for you to give or receive healing. Everyone has an others. Yes, even you. This is healing ourselves. And through healing ourselves, we do heal. When we fix ourselves, when we take the steps forward that help ourselves, we do help the collective. And that is how we go forward in that. Healing, everyone has that natural ability. We all have that instinct. We all can heal. We can all offer our unique skills to assisting in this time. Really, it just comes down to choosing to be an active participant versus a reactive participant in this reality. And I truly believe it. I truly believe where the choice comes from when we decide to step in to being active in our reality, to create what we want to create and start going forward with that versus waiting passively for life to respond to us. Manifestation does exist. You have to take the steps to make it happen. And then again, we have to also be gentle with ourselves in acknowledging that based on who we are and our charts and our own alignment, how it might work out might be due to timing, location, our own self-motivation, things I was talking about before. So if you're wondering how it affects you, come and check out I'm pointing there. So my small, because I've got it on a landscape and vertical. So this is for my vertical. I'm pointing to it. Now I'm pointing to it on my landscape. This is fun. Here's my little pointer. There's my technology, my finger. So on that. This week, listen to your intuition, avoid being emotionally dragged through things, and go forward helping others with what your unique skills are. Start becoming an active participant in your life. If we step out of being victims, being out that the world is affecting us, which, yes, in fairness, we are all a little bit victims to the world. Like, I do struggle that even with things I know, I still have to function in a reality that I may not necessarily agree with things happening that I can't control, but I still have to exist in a reality that I don't necessarily agree with. It's coming to terms with what we can control and what we can do versus what we can't control. Of course, accepting those things, whether we like them or not, we accept them. Maybe we just choose how we want to interact with them and how much we want to interact with them. And it's coming back to being empowered to make those choices, but not from an emotional spot that's not built on truth, right? Emotions are important to help us see clearly, but making sure we're taking that time to reflect and ensure that we're not just overreacting, that, okay, we feel this, but does this logic and emotions, can we kind of make them match? Maybe not always, because maybe we're much more emotional than logical at this moment. That's okay. Doesn't mean your emotions are wrong. Maybe we just have to sit back to see a little more clearly before we act on it. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me once again. That was the week of March 15th to 22nd. My intention is that you'll come away with something that will help heal and serve you to go forward this week. Please do like, share, subscribe, whatever platform you're on. Please do follow me. So when I come live each Sunday, every week at 11:11 Eastern, you can join me live or follow me after when it gets posted, and go forward, because the reality is we are the creators. We have been very disempowered to creating this reality, and there's a lot of things outside of us that are noise. So if we can come back and I can help you be empowered to create yourself more alignment, then I feel like I've helped in at least a way, helped at some level. Because as we pulled with healing, everyone has a natural ability to heal others. Yes, even you. You've got something that you can offer everybody else as well. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next Sunday, same time, same place, and we will dig into going into the 22nd till the end of March and see where those energies are going. And until next time, have a beautiful day.